An original podcast from podlatino.com.
For decades, Japan was an afterthought in world rugby. Their teams competed with passion, but the gap between them and the traditional giants, New Zealand, South Africa, England, and Australia, seemed impossible to bridge. Losses by wide margins were common. In 1995, Japan suffered a humiliating 145-17 defeat to New Zealand, the heaviest loss in Rugby World Cup history. Many wondered whether Japan even belonged at the sport's highest level, but behind the scenes, Japan was building something remarkable. With investment, planning, and a relentless work ethic, they turned themselves into one of rugby's most inspiring stories. Their transformation culminated in two defining moments: the Brighton Miracle of 2015, when they stunned South Africa in one of the greatest upsets in sporting history, and their breakthrough performance as hosts of the 2019 World Cup, where they reached the quarterfinals and captured the hearts of millions. Japan's rugby history dates back to the late 19th century, when the sport was introduced by British expatriates. Over the years, universities and company teams became the backbone of the game. Corporations like Panasonic, Toshiba, and Suntory sponsored clubs, giving players steady employment while competing in the domestic top league. Yet, despite a strong grassroots system, Japan's national team struggled internationally. Their style was fast and technical but lacked the physicality of Tier 1 nations. Everything began to change in the early 2000s. The Japanese Rugby Union set out a long-term vision: to host a World Cup, to compete at the highest level, and to prove that an Asian nation could succeed in a sport dominated by the West. They invested in coaching, facilities, and player development. Importantly, they embraced a style that matched their strengths: speed, skill, and endurance rather than brute force. Enter Eddie Jones, the Australian coach with Japanese heritage. Appointed in 2012, Jones instilled discipline and belief. He demanded fitness levels that shocked players, pushing them to train harder than ever. His philosophy was clear: Japan could not outmuscle the giants, but they could outrun them. Quick passes, relentless tempo, and fearless attacking rugby became their identity. The result of that vision came in Brighton, England, on September 19, 2015. Facing two-time champion South Africa, few gave Japan a chance. But from the opening whistle, they refused to back down. They tackled fiercely, attacked bravely, and matched the Springboks stride for stride. With the score tied at 32-32 in the dying minutes, Japan had a chance to kick for a draw. Instead, Captain Michael Leitch ordered a scrum. The ball went wide, and Karna Hesketh dived into the corner for the winning try. Final score: Japan 34, South Africa 32. The rugby world was stunned. Commentators called it the greatest upset in World Cup history. The Brighton Miracle instantly became legend. The impact in Japan was seismic. Millions watched the match live, and suddenly rugby was front-page news. Children picked up rugby balls for the first time. Corporate sponsors invested more. The Japanese public, known for passion in baseball and soccer, embraced rugby like never before. But Japan's rise didn't stop there. In 2019, they hosted the Rugby World Cup, the first ever held in Asia. Skeptics doubted whether Japan could handle the scale of the tournament. Instead, it became one of the most successful World Cups ever. Stadiums were full, fans were enthusiastic, and the atmosphere was electric. On the field, Japan delivered again. They beat Ireland and Scotland in the group stages, playing breathtaking rugby that combined speed, skill, and courage. They reached the quarterfinals, losing to South Africa, the same team they had shocked 4 years earlier. But this time, it was no upset. Japan was a contender. Economically and culturally, the success was massive. The tournament generated billions in revenue and inspired a new generation. The Japanese team became national heroes, celebrated for their discipline, humility, and fighting spirit. Their style, dubbed Brave Blossoms Rugby, became a model for how smaller nations could compete with giants. Of course, challenges remain. Japan still struggles with consistency, and their domestic league continues to balance foreign imports with local talent. But the blueprint is clear. With planning, vision, and belief, they showed that rugby is truly a global game. The story of Japan is about more than sport. It is about defying expectations, rewriting narratives, and proving that passion and perseverance can overcome history. From humiliation in 1995 to glory in 2015 and pride in 2019, Japan's journey is one of rugby's greatest transformations. Behind the try line, their story reminds us that no underdog should ever be underestimated.